So, before I give my critique, or nobody wants this, and it's going to be a very interesting critique, because I do it from a personal point of view as a Jewish person. Yes, I grew up in Israel, but also in the US, and I have seen already Adam Sandler's You're So Not Invited to My Bat Mitzvah. This also has a Bat Mitzvah. And the Judaism that portrayed there is Reform Judaism at its worst, which means they take Judaism and they take everything. It's like, let me see. It's like an apple. If you take out everything and you just leave the peel, so there's no seeds, definitely no seeds, because everything is allowed. But this is not exactly Reform Judaism, because in Reform Judaism, it's okay for a non-Jew and Jew to get married. You can marry anyone you want. You can marry a duck as long as you pay. Reform Judaism is a huge business. And let me reveal to you my opinions. I think that all organized religion is, at the end of the day, it's a business. When you don't volunteer your time to help the needy, it's a business. Religion is not supposed to be about money, but that's what it is. Like, I was in the synagogue Saturday. I have to pay for a seat. Why do I have to pay for a seat? Why? Because that's how religion works. You have to pay for the synagogue, for the rabbi, and there, even though he gets a salary, even though Israel pays for the synagogue, they don't have to pay taxes. There's all kinds of benefits. They still try to make money out of all kinds of events. Do I need to pay for a chair in order to connect to Hashem, to God? I don't think so. For that, you usually have a Jewish grandma. Sometimes it's a mother. In my case, it was a grandma and a grandpa. And then you are connected. Now, the problem with Netflix, they have a lot of Jewish shows that just want to erase Judaism. The Adam Sandler, Bat Mitzvah is not at 13, it's at 12. Bar Mitzvah is at 13. Girls have the rite of passage at 12, not at 13. Second of all, not all Jews are rich. Here is a wonderful example. I'm not a wealthy person and I'm Jewish. Not all Jews are rich, but if you look at Netflix, everybody's a multimillionaire and has huge villas. That's not the case. So they're actually sponsoring all the ideas or promoting all the ideas of Jews being wealthy. Jews are nasty people. I'll admit, it's not easy. Jews are not easy people to get along with. It's much easier to get along with people who don't argue with you about everything. It's a Jewish trait to argue. That's probably one of the most Jewish traits there are. The argument, the discussion that can sometimes go to arguments. But there are a lot of wonderful things about Judaism. The Sabbath day, where you just disconnect from the world. And this rabbi, he drives on Shabbat. He eats in non-kosher restaurants. He dates shiksas. If you want to be a leader of a Jewish community, why in the world would you date a non-Jew? So, long story short, I had a therapist who was religious, and one day, after a few years of therapy, he stopped wearing his yarmulke, his skull cap, and rumors, because people are always talking, that he started to date a non-Jewish woman. Are there no blonde Jews? I'm a blonde Jew, although I dyed my hair recently to ginger. I am a blonde. My parents were blonde. My children are blonde. There are a lot of blonde Jews for generations and generations. And we don't all have long noses. We're not all nasty. There's some very warm-hearted Jewish women. Not all Jewish women are nasty, jealous, and controlling. So I don't understand what makes Netflix want to promote Jewish stereotypes. And it's funny, if a transgender doesn't get a role as a transgender, there's all hell breaks loose. But casting a non-Jew in the role of a Jew, like the brother is a non-Jew, aren't there enough Jewish actors? I think there are. But when it comes to Jewishness, then it's inclusivity. Like a transgender has to play a transgender and so forth. But a Jew, no. It's enough that he looks like a Jew. Stereotypical looks. It's the woman who plays the shiksa, the non-Jew, is such a nasty, stupid, shallow woman. And this guy who's a rabbi supposedly is a man who seeks depth, who seeks meaning in life. And then he's like going out with that. It's not about being non-Jewish. It's about a shallow person dating a person who supposedly is interested in depth and the meaning of life. She's not interested in the meaning of life. She just wants to have sex with everybody. And she has a stupid show, a podcast with her sister about having sex. And there's nothing wrong with that. But why would a person who seeks depth go out with a shallow person? It has nothing to do with religion. It has to do with the same mistake I probably made by seeking the physical rather than the inner. Because, the physical is just like a package, and inside is the most important part. I learned that the hard way, but I wasn't a rabbi. I wasn't a person who's supposed to preach to others about how to find the meaning of life. So religious leaders, whether it's Muslim, Christian, Jew, should stick to the pillar of the religion. And one of them is you don't marry outside of your religion. Because the family unit is actually the most important part of Judaism. And when one of the parents is not Jewish, then it affects the future generations being Jewish. Statistics say if you marry a non-Jew, almost 100%, the next generation won't marry a Jew, and that's it. There's no more Jewish kids. And even if they convert, the Judaism doesn't allow conversion just so you can be with somebody. They only allow conversion because you truly want to be Jewish. And that woman didn't show any interest in being Jewish. She thinks it's funny. She mocks it. She mocks everything. She's a very attractive actress, but she's nasty personality. I wouldn't want to be friends with her. Doesn't seem to have friends also. She has weird friends. She has weird friends. And they're all like, I don't know. And they all kind of sort of lack an identity, a clear identity. She lacks a clear identity. And then she dates a man who supposedly has a very clear identity. He's a rabbi. He's supposed to have a very clear, whether it's a Reform or Orthodox, he's supposed to have a clear identity of who he is and what he wants to do in life. And then along comes this blonde woman. There's so many Jewish blondes, by the way, real blondes. And then, oh my God, he has to go out with this woman. Why? There's no reason other than he might be desperate, or maybe he's tired of that. He dated somebody that was boring. Then there's a lot of interesting Jewish, funny Jewish, interesting blonde women out there. You don't have to go with a non-Jew. And it's ridiculous that he eats non-kosher. He eats everywhere. He doesn't do blessings, doesn't keep the Sabbath. That's not a rabbi. That's not even a priest. Even priests say grace or do something and have some sort of rituals. He's a rabbi without any rituals. He's not even a Reform rabbi. He's just a caricature. He's good looking. He looks like Neil Diamond. He looks like Neil Diamond exactly. And it's sort of like the story of that I like, but at least it has good music. The jazz singer. And there's an interreligious relationship too. But there's amazing music. And this doesn't have it. It's just a waste of time, really. It did distract me from the rockets from Yemen. But that's not enough. Don't waste your time watching stereotypical Jewish shows. It's number one in Israel, which means a lot of us want to escape. We want to escape the rockets. We want to escape the condemnation of the world when we want to self-defense, when we want to defend ourselves. We are like demonized, and it's hard. It's hard being Jewish these days. I see horrible things on X. I see a senior citizen place in Ottawa, Canada, being attacked by pro-Palestinians. It's not Palestinians, it's terrorists. I see hummus being labeled as apartheid. And I can tell you, there's not a day that goes by that I don't see at least 5 Arab people We have 20%, 25% Arabs, and they're being bombarded by the same terrorists. So let's say you hate Jews, but what about the Arabs that live here that are targeted? The Druze. And what about the Lebanese people that are forced to be controlled by these terrorists? They can't be happy having rockets in their living rooms. I mean, it's the same thing as Gaza. They hide rockets in schools and hospitals and homes and shoot them from homes. And then they expect us to what? Lay down and just, if it wasn't for the army, we wouldn't be living this wonderful life we're living at the moment. Shiva.